Fear not is a very important Christmas message. To Mary, to Joseph, and the shepherds, the angelic messengers declared, "Fear not." And that we can see in Luke chapter 1, verse 30, Matthew chapter 1, verse 20, Luke chapter 2, verse 10. What can we learn from their experiences? And how can we apply this message to our modern day circumstances? Well, before I go into the story of Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds as related to Christmas, I would like to mention some modern day people that have been able to overcome their fears. We have this man born without arms or legs. His name is Nick Vujicic. He learned to overcome his fears, and now he inspires millions and millions of people with his motivational speeches and faith. We can see him all over the social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and the rest. We also have a young Pakistani activist called Malala Yousafzai. She faced her fears and continues to advocate for girls' education, despite the Taliban threats and an assassination attempt. Another person we can mention is Bethany Hamilton, a professional surfer who overcame her fears of sharks after a devastating attack in the year 2003. She continues to compete and inspire others. Then also in the Bible, there are so many other people that overcame their fears. We have the story of David and Goliath in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 17. David, the young shepherd, faced his fears and trusted in God's power to defeat the giant Goliath. Same thing with Peter. Peter walked on the water. He was one of the disciples of Jesus. He overcame his fears of the stormy sea and walked on water with Jesus. At first, he was afraid, but later he picked up courage. We can read the story in Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 33. Queen Esther is another person, a Jewish queen. She faced her fears and approached the king to save her people from persecution. The story of Esther is in the book of Esther, chapter 4 and 5. Now, let's go back to the important season we are now, the Christmas season. Christmas season is a season of joy. It's a season of love and celebration. However, for some people, it can be a time of anxiety, a time of fear and uncertainty, because the pressures of giving gifts, social gatherings, meeting expectations can really be overwhelming. The times are hard, yet people are expecting you to send them alerts. They are expecting gifts. They are expecting food. They are expecting all kinds of things from you, and you don't have. So amidst all the hustle and bustle, the Bible offers a powerful message that can bring peace and comfort to our hearts during this Christmas period. And that message is, fear not. Now let's look at the fear of the unknown. Mary's story. When the angel Gabriel appeared to Mary, she was frightened, yes. The angel's greeting, "You will be with child and give birth to a son," was both astonishing and terrifying. Read the story again in Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38. Mary's fear was understandable. Anyway, because she was young, unmarried woman facing an unexpected pregnancy. But Gabriel's response was immediate and reassuring. Angel Gabriel said, "Fear not, Mary. You have found favor with God." Luke chapter 1, verse 30. May we all find favor with God so that our fears can be banished. Mary's story teaches us that fear often accompanies the unknown. We may face unexpected challenges, uncertainties, or changes in our lives, and our natural response is to be afraid. However, Mary's example shows us that even in the midst of uncertainty, we can choose to trust in God's sovereignty and goodness. Another type of fear is fear of inadequacy, and that is in Joseph's story. Joseph, Mary's betrothed, also faced fear and uncertainty. When he discovered Mary's pregnancy, he was torn between his love for her and his sense of righteousness. Let's read that story again in Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 to 25. But an angel appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. Matthew chapter 1, verse 20. Joseph's story highlights the fear of inadequacy that many of us sometimes face. We may feel overwhelmed by our responsibilities, unsure of our abilities, or uncertain about our decisions. But Joseph's example shows us that God is always with us, guiding us and empowering us to fulfill our roles and responsibilities. Now, the third type of fear is the fear of the unexpected. That is seen in the shepherd's story. The shepherds who were tending the flocks in their fields were also confronted with fear when the angels appeared to them. That story is in Luke chapter 2, verses 8 to 20. But the angel's declaration, do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people, was a powerful antidote to their fear in Luke chapter 2, verse 10. The shepherd's story reminds us that fear often accompanies the unexpected. We may face sudden changes, surprises, or challenges that catch us off guard. But the shepherd's example shows us that even in the midst of unexpected events, we can choose to trust in God's goodness and sovereignty. Now, I want to give us some tips on how we can overcome fear in our daily circumstances. First is that we have to acknowledge our fears, recognize the fears and anxieties, and not be afraid to express them to God in prayer. Then we trust also in God's sovereignty, remembering that God is always in control, even when circumstances seem uncertain or overwhelming. We also need to learn to focus on God's presence. Instead of focusing on our fears, we should focus on God's presence in our life. We recall His promises, His faithfulness, and His love. Then we can also cultivate a spirit of gratitude by thanking God for His blessings, His provisions, and His care. When we practice gratitude, our fears will definitely reduce. You can seek support also by surrounding ourselves with people who encourage and support us. And we shouldn't be afraid, actually, to seek help when we need it. And we take care of ourselves. We prioritize self-care by getting enough rest, eating well, exercising regularly, and engaging in activities that bring us joy and relaxation. Because if not, we'll focus too much on the fear and will not be able to have any headway. Let us take for example some students who have made effort also to overcome their fear of public speaking. A shy student, for example, with the help of a supportive teacher, can gradually build control and confidence to deliver a presentation in front of the class. A single parent facing financial fears too, despite struggling to make ends meet, can find ways to budget and provide for family, trusting in their own resilience and support from family. Another example we can look at is an entrepreneur who is struggling to overcome business fears. So despite the initial failures and setbacks and the huge block and obstacle in front of this entrepreneur for his business or for a business, perseverance will help the person to find success and also learning to manage risk and uncertainty. All this I'm saying so that we know that we can overcome fear. It is a process, yes. It requires courage, it requires resilience, and often faith. We mustn't forget that. But by facing our fears and taking small steps at a time, we overcome them, and we can then achieve great things. So the message of Christmas should always be with us. We shouldn't forget that. Fear not. It's a powerful message. It is an enduring theme that runs through the Christmas story. Some are afraid of what the next year will be. Let us remember the angel's message, fear not. So, as we reflect on the experiences of Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds, we are reminded that fear is a natural response to uncertainty. It is very natural. It's okay to be afraid. It's a natural thing. It is our response to uncertainty. It is our response to inadequacy. It is our response to the unexpected. However, we are encouraged to trust in God's sovereignty, so God's presence, and God's goodness. So, as we celebrate Christmas, may we remember that the true meaning of the season is not just about gifts, decorations, or festivities, but about the birth of Jesus Christ, who came to bring us hope, peace, joy, and love. So I pray that the message of fear not will bring us comfort and peace and joy to our hearts. And may we always share the message of courage with others. Merry Christmas and a prosperous Happy New Year. God bless us all.